into it with a fan in Utah. Nick Foles cashed in with Jacksonville, keyword there being cash. But we're going to start with the Patriots because it's been a minute. The New England Patriots slowly coming down from their Super Bowl high. The reality of free agency has sunk in. Yesterday, they lost two key pieces from last year's championship team. Defensive end Trey Flowers is expected to sign with the Detroit Lions, where he will be reunited with former Patriots coach Matt Patricia. And left tackle Troy Brown will sign a deal with the Raiders. Let us dive into free agency. CC, we'll start with you. How confident are you that the Patriots will be, well, absolutely fine after losing these two pieces?
I mean, not concerned at all. The Patriots made these players. Trey Flowers, he's been in the Patriots system for a number of years, having his best season this year where they were able to, as a group, help him manufacture those 9 sacks and that have him coveted as a free agent because there's such always a premium put in free agency on quarterbacks and on guys that can rush the passer. From the other standpoint, as far as Trent Brown, he was a guy that had a lot of talent, but they wouldn't say he was an underachiever. In New England there, on the left side, we didn't know he was going to be able to replace Nate Solder and be able to do the great job that he did, but Dante Scarnecchia, we keep mentioning his name. He's one of the best coaches that people don't talk about. What he did with him there in New England allowed him most of the time to solo block. They didn't have a tight end over there where they're helping. They didn't have a fullback or someone chipping. So I expected New England to allow these players to hit free agency. And in free agency, what do the bad football teams do? They continue that they'll stay on this cycle of being either mediocre or poor. That meaning they're going to always be looking for free agents. They throw money at guys. They overpay in free agency. So they've been like, wow, man, is Trey Flowers, is he worth it? One of my coaches in pro football taught me you're worth what someone will pay you. Now, most of the time people think they're worth more and they don't get it. But neither one of these players will be able to live up to these contracts. So this is what happens in free agency.
Especially the first 3 days of it. The first 72 hours, it's an auction. And anyone that's ever been to an auction knows if you win the auction, by definition, that means you said, I will pay an amount that everyone else in the room said, I can't pay that much for this. And that, listen, Trey Flowers, if you look at his knockdown numbers, because his sack numbers are not that impressive, but his knockdown numbers over the last 3 years, same as DeMarcus Lawrence, 4 more than Jadeveon Clowney. So you can see why he was sought after. People get the sticker shock of 5 years, 80 to 85 million. That's you better be DeMarcus Lawrence at least to make that a valuable deal. But why else is someone going to go sign with the Detroit Lions? Like, not just because he played with Matt Patricia. Trent Brown, we went through this exactly 1 year ago. Nate Solder, the former Tom Brady left tackle under Dante Scarnecchia with the New England Patriots, becomes the highest paid offensive lineman in the history of football. We now have a situation where Trent Brown becomes the highest paid left tackle in the history of football. The New England Patriots paid him $2 million last year. He's now going to get $36 million over the next 2 years guaranteed from the San Francisco 49ers. So from the Oakland Raiders, pardon me. This is the situation that these teams are in. It is very hard to get bargains in early days of free agency. You just have to accept we're paying a 25% premium at a minimum. The Pats, on the other hand, see, they drafted Isaiah Wynn a year ago. Now, we don't know what he'll be, but they spent a first-round pick on him.
Yeah, they got 2 high draft picks. The defensive back from Florida, he ended up getting hurt. They got 2 of their top 3 picks coming back after not making contributions, so they'll develop those guys the way that New England typically would do.
And on Trey Flowers, it's not a draft pick. I think Michael Bennett will be as productive next year in New England, if not more, than Trey Flowers will be in Detroit. Michael Bennett, I think, has at least 1 more year of very high-level football left in him.
Yeah, look at his knockdowns. They're very comparable to what they gave up there with Trey. I believe he's a better player, and I believe he's very, very smart, very, very savvy, and watch how he fits into that New England system. So I know New England got a very good player at the right price.
Well, and that's where, I don't ever begrudge any player making money. I would so much much rather the players have the money than the owners. Like, I got no problem with it. But in a hard cap sport, the money matters. And Michael Bennett on a 1-year contract for less than $10 million is such a greater value proposition than Trey Flowers with $50 million guaranteed at 16 to 17 million per.
And I think they have Bennett for the next 2 years under 20 million.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. But they're not tied to him after the first year. So if they want to move on from him,
yes,
it's essentially a team
or you
option
can keep him, because I believe he's going to have success.
I know we talk about this a lot, but how are the Patriots so much better than almost every other team at evaluating talent, knowing when to cut a player, when to bring in a guy that other teams have given up on it? Because they seem to just know the X's and O's of the business of football better.
Well, I have to correct you. They do know football better than anyone else. They don't know talent better. Like, they don't, because they don't have a very, very talented roster. Now, what they do is they believe in their system. They believe in their coaches, will coach their guys up, and then allow them to be able to play the best football. Detroit, because they have Matt Patricia, he's very, very fortunate. But other players, we have seen, Chandler Jones being one of the most talented, we have seen these players leave New England, and you start to see you're a system player. This is what free agency, it distorts fans, it distorts coaches, it distorts who that player really is. Because all players have weaknesses. But in free agency, because of the sticker price, and just like, well, wow, this guy's making that. Well, the salary cap for one is $188.2 million. So we shouldn't be like, oh, man, these owners are broke, all right? The market will bear these type of prices. That's why the owners are paying these type of prices. So we should expect, I think the salary cap went up $10 million over last year. It will continue to grow. New England, they understand the ramifications. They have the type of deal, though, when you have your quarterback and he's not eating up $30 million of the cap, they have such a huge advantage. Now, they have some other advantages, but how they manage Tom Brady and his salary is one of the things they do at a level, and that's the reason why they're the New England Patriots.
The thing that the Patriots, I think, do better than every other team, Jenna, is not talent evaluation, but understanding the business aspect of football and they understand the draft is a crapshoot. So you know what the best chance of winning that crapshoot is? Getting as many picks as possible. They understand that free agency, you tend to overpay. So they sit back. They never sign guys to contracts that could become bad contracts. In the last 3 years, there's only one what I would consider risky contract they've signed a free agent to, Stephon Gilmore. That if he ended up being a bad player or getting repeatedly injured.
And it's almost like the chance they took when they went Revis, because they knew that a cover guy, and what I can do as far as coverage, I'm willing to risk more money at that position than I typically would, but it gives me so much flexibility from a game plan standpoint.
And there's no other way to get that guy. So if you want to go get that guy, you're going to have to pay a premium. But the Patriots are so disciplined in not falling in love with what recency bias, what we saw last year, in believing in their system that they will not overpay. And then they have the added benefit, because they're the Patriots, guys might at the end of their careers take a little bit less to play there.
Sure.
Guys might want to choose to go there.
Right. And what they do, Jenna, from a talent standpoint, they know your players maybe better than you know them.
Oh, so that's interesting.
And when you got Revis, where'd he come from? Well, people say he came from Tampa Bay.
But the
he came
Jets.
from the Jets.
Yeah.
And where did Gilmore come from?
The Bills.
From the Bills. So guys inside their division.
Was in the the Dolphins.
I mean, guys in their division, they do that extra to be able to see how would this guy fit into New England. And there's a couple guys they've decided to pay, and those things have really worked out.
Look, there aren't many teams where you could say, oh, you lost your starting left tackle and defense end. You're going to be just fine. It's got to just be the Patriots. Talk more about this coming up. But on the other side, who's to blame?